how do we assert that step forward? And every time I find that conversation comes up, and it's specifically interesting to a young guy, maybe I'll wise up and shut the fuck up when I'm older, but it's particularly interesting because it's like you want to put your best foot forward, and you constantly are confronted with things that are actually, I would literally call them demoralizing. Entropy is too strong. There's no way that your will can be trusted. And I understand that. Like, I'm not trying to be unsophisticated. Like, there's definitely an aspect of humility that's necessary for a young man to learn. But there's also an aspect, like, take for example, a great fighter. Like, on some level, he has to sit down and trust himself over everybody, over his coach. He has to say, I'm out here to do this fight by myself. Like, no one's going to come in and save me.
There's an aspect where the will takes you a certain spot, and then there's a place where you're carried. And anybody who's had a really creative experience will realize that will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And will goes only a way, and then you're carried. Will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And you can't explain it. And then what's acting in you is more than you. And what's acting through you, you can't explain, you can't describe. It's like, and then when you're done, when it's happened, you look back and you think, there was something else going on. Like, I found myself speaking sometimes, talking about something, and then for some reason everything comes together. Then I say something.
Maybe that's the Holy Spirit or God himself saying, right, I'm going to reach into this guy and sort of take over. Because I've had that loads of times. I've had these things where it's like I'll be making a song, for example, and then something I'll just feel something, and I'll be like, talk, and it will talk, and then the thing will come out, I think the problem I would have is that I can categorize that, and I'm very careful not to ruin myself trying to categorize all this stuff correctly. I just let it happen. It's
like, if we just stop gorging ourselves, you're already going to come closer to this other thing, because we're so overfed. Like, we're of everything, right? It's like every desire can be reached. Like, you can just put your hands out and get whatever it is that you want. And so, and we'll realize that will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And will goes only a way, and then you're carried. Will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And you can't explain it. And
this is like, it actually kind of, it's like I'm trying to put on your shoes towards the end of it. It's inevitable though. Like, I don't, like, Facebook figured out dopamine stuff. Like, how can that get reversed without a Babylonian collapse? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going one direction, and unless we get a Chinese authoritarian state that actually takes the responsibility and says, right, everyone's banned from phones or something like that, and no one in the liberal West is going to want that to happen. And so, what do you do? Like, where do you go about this? This is actually a scary question. Like, is there? All right, what happens if there isn't an implosion? What if Babylon keeps on chugging on for 300 years like she did before?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. Right? This always moves towards an authoritarian system. This excess of chaos and of partying and of dilapidation and of wasted seed and energy it can only lead to authoritarianism.
That's right. We'll say that inevitable is coming to happen. Again, when you're speaking to a young man like myself, like, my fears, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit down and twiddle my thumbs as Rome burns around me. Like, should I be like the gods and saying to myself, like, what do I focus on to be part of something new? Like, what's the next step,
Will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And will goes only a way, and then you're carried. Will goes only a way, and then you're carried. And you can't explain it. And you can't explain it.